The most shocking moment of the 2026 NBA playoffs wasn't a game winner. It wasn't a buzzer beater. It was Nikola Jokić completely losing control. With just 1.2 seconds left, the game was already over. The Minnesota Timberwolves had won. Then Jaden McDaniels scored a late layup, and Jokić snapped. He physically went after McDaniels. Chaos exploded, both benches rushed in, and suddenly one of the calmest superstars in basketball was at the center of the biggest meltdown of the postseason. Jokić, McDaniels, and Julius Randle were all ejected. And here's the real question. This is a three-time MVP, one of the smartest players alive, one of the greatest players on earth. So why did he completely break in the final seconds of a game that was already over? Because this was never just about one layup. This was pressure, identity, fear, and the psychology of what happens when greatness starts slipping away. Let's get into it. You're watching The Sports Verdict Daily, where we break down the biggest stories in American sports every single day and give you the final call. I'm your host. Let's get into today's verdict. So here's the full picture. The Timberwolves now lead the Denver Nuggets 3-1. Denver is standing on the edge of elimination. For a team built around championship expectations, that's not pressure, that's panic. And no player carries more of that weight than Nikola Jokić. This is the guy who carried Denver to a championship. MVPs, finals runs, historic playoff performances. For years, the Nuggets have gone exactly as far as Jokić could drag them. He isn't just their best player, he is their entire identity. Which is why this moment mattered so much. Because in the most pressure-filled moment of the season, he didn't rise. He cracked. Now, to be fair, there is an unwritten rule in basketball culture. If the game is already over, the winning team usually doesn't score again. You dribble it out. You respect the result. That late layup from McDaniels, a lot of players would see that as disrespect. That part is real. But physically attacking an opponent over it? That crosses every line. That's not defending basketball culture. That's losing emotional control. And when a player like Jokić does that, the question becomes bigger than the play itself. Was this just one bad moment? Or was it a window into something deeper about what pressure does, even to the greatest players in the world? Because here's the truth nobody likes talking about. Superstars are often mentally fragile in ways normal players aren't. Not because they're weak, but because the stakes are different. First, the identity threat. For most players, basketball is their job. For superstars like Jokić, basketball becomes their identity. It's how the world sees them. It's how they see themselves. When your team is collapsing, it doesn't feel like losing a game. It feels like losing yourself. That sounds dramatic, but that's exactly how elite competition works. If Jokić believes his greatness is tied to winning, and most superstars do, then a playoff collapse isn't just professional failure. It feels personal. It feels like your legacy slipping away in real time. That kind of threat doesn't trigger logic. It triggers emotion, rage, panic, desperation. Second, the control paradox. The harder a superstar tries to control everything, the more dangerous pressure becomes. Jokić can control effort. He can control preparation. He can control performance. But he cannot control everything. He cannot control injuries, bad shooting nights, role players disappearing, or Jaden McDaniels deciding to score with 1.2 seconds left. That helplessness matters, because the human brain hates powerlessness, especially elite competitors. When someone who controls everything suddenly can't control the outcome, emotion rushes in to fill the gap, and often that emotion is anger. That's what the layup represented. Not 2 extra points, powerlessness. Before I get to the greatest meltdowns in NBA history, there's one more piece of this story that completely reframes everything. Stay with me? The spotlight effect is brutal. People assume that because superstars perform well under game pressure, they must also handle emotional pressure perfectly. That's not true. Those are two completely different skills. You can be elite at making decisions with a defender in your face and still be terrible at managing frustration when your season is falling apart. Basketball EQ and emotional regulation are not the same thing, and by Game 4 of a playoff series, the accumulated stress is insane. Months of pressure, media criticism, fan expectations, physical exhaustion, endless travel, endless treatment, endless conversations about legacy. That pressure stacks quietly. Then one small trigger, one late layup, one bad whistle, one moment of disrespect detonates everything. That's not weakness, that's overload. And every NBA generation has its version of this story. Think about Dennis Rodman kicking a cameraman in 1997. One of the greatest defenders ever, completely losing control under the final spotlight. Think about Draymond Green in the 2016 finals. His flagrant foul suspension in Game 5 is still seen as the turning point of the Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead. One emotional mistake changed NBA history. Rajon Rondo had playoff incidents that overshadowed huge parts of his career. Russell Westbrook has had multiple postseason explosions where frustration became the story instead of basketball. Same pattern, different era. Every generation produces this because we expect greatness from superstars, not humanity. We forget they are still people under pressure until a moment like this forces us to remember. Now let's flip the conversation. Because if meltdowns show us what failure looks like mentally, championships show us what mastery looks like. Take LeBron James. 23 years in the league. Finals pressure, media pressure, GOAT debates every day of his adult life. And yet emotional explosions from LeBron are incredibly rare. That's not luck. That's discipline. His emotional regulation is part of his greatness. Or Tim Duncan, the big fundamental. People remember the bank shots and championships, but what made Duncan terrifying was how emotionally unshakable he was. Calm under everything. Never chasing chaos, never feeding drama. Then Kobe Bryant. Kobe used pressure like fuel. He turned emotion into aggression on the court, not off it. That's the difference between competitive fury and emotional collapse. One wins games, the other loses series. That's the separator. The greatest champions are not just physically superior. They master the one thing most superstars never fully conquer, their own mind, when everything is on the line. And that brings us back to Jokić. He may still be one of the greatest players of this era. That doesn't change. One meltdown doesn't erase championships or MVPs. But this moment reveals something important. The one area where some of his greatest rivals may always have an edge is mental control under maximum pressure. Because talent is obvious, skill is measurable, but emotional discipline? That only shows itself when everything starts burning. And in Game 4, we saw exactly what Jokić looks like in that fire. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Come on, it was one emotional moment. Are we reading too much into this? Honestly, fair point. Every competitor has bad moments. Passion is part of greatness. Sometimes frustration is just frustration. But here's why it matters. Playoffs magnify everything. The counter-argument would hold if this happened in January against a lottery team. But it didn't. It happened with the season on the line, with elimination staring at him, and with the Timberwolves smelling blood. That's when character matters most. And opponents notice. They study it. They use it. Because once a team knows they can get under your skin, the psychological battle changes. Now they're not just defending your game, they're attacking your emotional balance. That's dangerous. So here's the final call. Talent gets you to the playoffs. Skill gets you to the finals. But only one thing actually wins championships, and it has nothing to do with basketball. It's what happens inside a superstar's mind when everything is on the line. Jokić just showed us his, and the Timberwolves are about to use it against him because the scariest weakness in sports isn't physical, it's emotional. Once opponents see the crack, they keep pushing until it breaks wider. That's the Sports Verdict Daily Take. Greatness isn't tested when you're winning, it's revealed when you're losing. If you made it this far, you already know the deal. Subscribe to the Sports Verdict Daily, hit the bell, and you'll get the call on every major story in American sports every single day. Drop your take in the comments. Was Jokic's meltdown just one bad moment? Or did it reveal something bigger about his championship mentality? Let's hear it. I'll see you tomorrow, same time. Next Verdict.